That's good. Got it. All right, so I'm going to.
Now you are host.
Yay. Okay, so whiteboard desktop. Share. Why is it doing that? Okay. It's making me do a system preference here. So allow. Weird. Password firewall, click here for remove that port. Huh. Why is it not letting me do this? My first time ever doing this. Later, quit and reopen.
No problem. Take your time. I understand. Technology is so.
Figured it out. All right.
Oh, yay.
Yay, I got it. Okay, we are going to go. So I did this class a couple weeks ago in person here on Gabriola, and it was amazing. And I'm excited to be sharing this with people online as well as here on the Academy. So thank you for being here. My name is Sandra. I would like to open up this class with letting you guys know that I'm on unceded Sanemos territory, which is the indigenous band that grew and were the people that lived on this land before us settlers came and took it away from them. And I just wanted to let everybody know that I am very appreciative of being able to live and learn on this land. And yeah, let's learn about some wild teas. A lot of us grew up thinking of teas as something that came in a bag. As foraging has recoined popularity, more people are brewing their own herbal infusions from tea ingredients they own that they harvest themselves, either it be their own garden or from wild plants. Some of you may be familiar with a lot of the things that I have in here, and a lot of these things will surprise you as well, because I'm sure you'll walk down the street and realize, hey, I learned that and now I can use that and make a nice herbal infusion for whatever ailment I have going on at that point. Despite the name of herbal teas, they're not actually made of tea plants. They're instead of using some parts of plants like flowers, roots, and herbs that date back to ancient Egypt and ancient China, used for thousands of years. The taste and medicinal properties are why it's called a herbal infusion and why there's so many health benefits to herbal teas. There's 100 of different herbal plants that you can drink, all of them varying in taste and benefits. And these benefits can range from treating colds to relieving stress, to anti-aging properties, to anything that you can kind of, feel in your body and even your skin. Drinking herbal teas can do a big thing for your all around health, which is why I'm really into drinking a lot of tea every single day, either it be hot outside, and especially when it's cold, because we all know a nice cup of tea on a rainy afternoon is probably the best thing. So health benefits of herbal teas. I'm going to go through the health benefits. Before I do that, I just want everybody to know who are here with us and who will be watching this video again. Before you forage, make sure that you invest in a good quality guidebook and only harvest plants that you know are for sure. I am not a trained professional. I don't have a record of medical background. So I want you guys to know when you're drinking your tea, please make sure that you're looking up and make sure that they are okay if you are taking medication, or consult your physician about any type of plants you think you might be dabbling in if you are using medication, because that can trigger some unwanted effects. And I don't want to be the person that makes that happen. So we'll start with the health benefits of herbal teas and wild teas. Herbal teas are great for treating colds. They improve digestion depending on what plants. They boost your immune system because there's lots of antioxidants and vitamins found in these plants. They're great for helping fight diseases and infections. They can prevent against stress and lower risk of chronic diseases. They reduce inflammation. Drinking herbal tea daily can help those who suffer from arthritis and reduce pain, swelling, and other tiredness in joints. Also, a big thing with us aging bodies, herbal teas are great for anti-aging. It's kind of like the fountain of youth in a cup. Depending on what you're throwing in there, your body will probably just love it and take all the nutritions out of each plant and put it right back into your body and where it needs to be. Because us as humans have kind of, swayed away from the aspect of how wild plants can actually affect our bodies. And we are using more things, and I've brought this out as an example. We are using more things that we just find convenient or in packages, and they're not actually full of benefits of the plants. They're actually stripped of those benefits. So drinking a tea that we find at a superstore that is obviously, mass produced is not actually giving us the benefits of what our wild teas and hand-grown teas can give us. So that's a big thing. At the end of this recording, or before I end this class, I'm gonna make a herbal tea blend with you guys, and we'll try to experiment and see what is gonna be the best tasting, and they'll totally be by random of what I think will go into a cup. So yeah. Herbal teas also relieve stress and anxieties. They lower blood pressure, great for skin health, and so much more. And the biggest thing for me is the relieving stress and anxiety. As somebody that suffers from anxiety and stress, and also an illness called BPD, I find going back down to my roots really help, kind of feel like I'm in touch with the earth, and I'm able to not just go and go to the doctors and say I need help. I can look up and see what I have growing around me and actually really hone in on the things that I truly believe that my body is lacking when I am going through an episode, or if I'm feeling super stressed. So we are going to
I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry to interrupt. If you do have background noise going on on your side, not you, Sandra, then can you please make sure that your mic is muted? Thank you so much. Please continue, Sandra.
So we are going to start with some wild plants that some of you might see around that you can make herbal wild teas with. So let's go down to our first page. I just want to note as well, if you guys would like this worksheet, I do have it all ready to go. I can send it to you guys in any way or form that you would like, so we can figure that out after, or we can post it on the Facebook page or the website. So I can do that. So don't worry if we're going through this too fast and you want to read it later. I will actually have this available that you can either print out yourself or just have on your computer or your phone. So I have this in front of me, but I'm going to put this in front of you guys so you can kind of read along with me as well. So we're going to talk about common mullein first, and hopefully you can see that. I know my top screen doesn't really show that. See, there we go. Common mullein. Where did you go? You're going too far. Excuse me, sir. No? Okay. No? No? Go back up to the top. I figured it out. I was averted. Ah! First time using technology, obviously. I am apologized. Okay, so common mullein. Common mullein is in the figwort family. It's an amazing plant. A lot of people call it cowboys toilet paper. It's been here on our earth for so long, longer than we know, and it has so many beautiful properties. It also is one of the best things to use if you're having lung problems. Say you've got a cold, or even with this new COVID era, you're feeling very unhealthy in your lungs. I suggest common mullein. It has very limited lookalikes just because the way that the plant is and the way that it shoots out of the ground and the leaves. So it's a very safe first plant and really easy to find if you are in a habitat that has that. It likes to live in road-sized waste areas, pastures. It has large basal rosettes up to 2 feet in diameter. Leaves are thick, densely hairy, oblong, and up to 1 foot in length. The stems produce in the second year. So if you see a baby mullein plant and there's no stems and flowers coming out of it, it's because it's just in its first year. It has been native to Europe and has been used as a remedy for skin, throat, and breathing ailments, also known as flannel leaf and bunny ears due to the pubescent leaves. And the leaves have been used for a variety of purposes, including lamp wicks, shoe inserts, which is a really funny thing because it is really soft and like I wish I could just cuddle it sometimes. And of course, toilet paper. And I know in a lot of practices, like in pagan and Wiccanism and all those areas, they do use them as lamp wicks, where you take the flower cob and you douse it in beeswax, and then you add other herbs on top of that, and then you can use that as actual candle, which is really cool in practices. At the end, it shows you how to prepare mullein tea. You can use it commercially prepared tea bags, which I don't usually let my class do that because I would rather them go look for it. But if you can't find it where you are and you really want to try it, then definitely go and find mullein tea bags. It's really easy to dry. You can hang it, as you can see. I have a lot of different plants behind me that I like to just hang in my kitchen, and then when I want to use them, I just take them and I rip them off and put them in a teapot. All right, next one, we are going to talk about dandelions. Dandelions are an amazing plant. All around, a dandelion is edible from its roots to its leaves, to the flowers, to the stems. It is one of those plants that you just can't go wrong with and has so many different properties when it comes to soothing the skin, or drinking it as tea, or make it into a coffee alternative, which is what the roots were used for a lot back in the day. I also have some dandelion roots here, which we can make into a tea later, but we'll do that in a bit. So dandelion, other names: lion tooth, pistillet, blowball. which is a funny name. And the habitat of the dandelion needs to be hardy and is familiar. This weed is to everyone, is especially it is and when it's harvested, should be aware that the richer the soil and it grows, the bigger the roots come out. So it is said to only take the roots out in fall. So if you're harvesting the roots for tea or for a coffee alternative, don't do it in the spring because then you won't get all the properties out of the roots. You'd want to wait for the fall of that. Um, they are well in like making fritters, like the flowers. I've made some wine, which is a video that I'm putting together for you all, and I will slowly put it all together in one thing so I don't have to do it in a sequence of things because I find myself getting too busy when I do those kind of things. So I will do that as soon. The roots are best dug in early spring, but I think that was just something if you're not looking for the flavor of the dandelion root to be tougher and more coffee-like, then it's better to do in the spring, or in the fall, and have time to replenish themselves. They are even better after a frost. This is one of the plant that nobody minds digging up just because it's a weed. A lot of people don't care much for dandelions. You see these people, sadly, it kills me when I see people use pesticides on any type of plant that can be used medicinally. So you see a lot of people have dandelions on the yard and they're like, those stubborn weeds, I just can't get them off. And I just cry every single time I see people not appreciating this amazing plant. There's a little bit more here, but we'll move on. Yeah, there's a lot of different species of dandelions around the world. And this is the most common, is the one that you see all around with the, beautiful orange flowers. And when you pick it up and the flowers are into seed, you get to sway away and, nostalgia moments when you're a kid. Yeah, so we'll go to the next one. We are going to chickweed now. Chickweed is an amazing plant that grows all over the place. It is prolific in so many ways. It just continues to grow. And you honestly need to use it for something or it's just going to take over your garden. There's many different species of chickweed. But this is the pesky one, bothersome to gardeners because it's quickly to establish itself in freshly turned soil, which is a pain being a gardener. You really are just like fighting the weeds more than you're actually doing anything else in your garden. So it's a battle. You can find it in your gardens, by dirt roads, on compost heaps, in vacant lots, and even construction sites, anywhere that there's moisture and open partial shade from sea level up to 600 meters at 2,000 feet. Season plant can be used at any time, as long as it's growing season in a mild climate that continues to thrive throughout the winter. It blooms mostly through April and June. Preparation on chickweed. You want to gather up a small quantity of these weeds, rinse the dirt from them. They have white roots and spread to the plants like these out for whole drying. To make an attractive green tea, crush the entire dried chickweed plant and using a teaspoon or more per cup of water, steep for 10 minutes. They also make a good green tea. Dried chickweed added to a biscuit can give both color and flavor. There's a little bit of description beside there. So if you're ever looking around and you're wondering if that's chickweed, then there's that description there. And we'll be able to have this as well as on your computer or on your phone when I send it to you, so you can use this as a reference. We will talk a little bit about the properties of each plant that I'm going to be making into a tea as well. But right now I just wanted to give you guys a rundown on some amazing wild plants that can be used for tea. They all have different uses and can be helpful in so many different ways. So we'll talk about that in a bit as well. So the next plant we're going to is clover. Clover is an amazing spring plant, and you can use it either in tea or make iced tea with it. It is so delicious, and red clover makes a beautiful pink color in your drink. There's about 20 species of clovers, and they're almost to always be found in meadows, roadside, hillsides, vacant lots, fields, and so on. The plants often grow in expensive patches. The flowering blooms in July and August. Best tea is made from the large flower heads, particularly the red, pink, and purple ones, which is sad because I have so many white ones, which I still use, but I actually just grow them to feed my bees. Clover heads should be dried before using, but the oven method is not recommended here. Instead, dry them in room temperature for 3 to 4 weeks. When drying is complete, pull out each individual flowerlet. So, when you have the clover head, you're taking the tops out. When I was a kid, I used to just take the tops out and just like suckle on the bottoms of them because they're so sweet. Or just like, and there's a little fairy in the forest just like eating little cloves, and I thought it was the coolest thing. Yeah, so it gives I'm giving you a little bit of try adding some of your clover heads to some lemon, some dried rose hips, wild mint, or blueberry juice for a distinctive flavor, and sweeten with clover honey, of course. And we will go, and then as well as what you will be looking for if you're searching for this plant. Blackberry. Another amazing wild plant. You can not only use the berries, you can use the leaves for this, for teas or for anything else. Everybody's familiar with blackberries, which is a lavish, it's a lavish plant that just likes to grow in so many areas. It is one of those things that you continuously fight back. I am on a small island that's called Gabriola, and we are surrounded by blackberry, salmonberry, and some other berries. I can't remember their names, but they just take over. Like literally every single other day, I'm just like chopping them down. I'm just trying to figure out like, how am I going to live with these things? Because if I let them take over my house, I will not be found ever again, which is probably not the best thing, but I also do dream about it. Just blackberry bush like taking over my driveway so nobody can come up and visit me anymore would be nice, but it's not going to work out that way. So the lush black fruit of late summer can generally be picked throughout August and September, with late stragglers that often, you can still pick throughout October. The leaves for tea are at their best when old and turning red. So if you're ever wanting to harvest blackberry leaves out in the wild for tea, remember that they're best when they're old, when the fruits have fallen and they're turning a little bit red, which makes them the best for tea. So that's mostly closer to winter. So beside using the fruits for usual desserts and jams and jellies, try making blackberry cardinal for a delicious fruit drink. So there's a recipe there on how to do it. This will be a beautiful thing for you to try once blackberries come out. And hopefully you guys can try that, because I think blackberries, kombucha, tea, cardinal, even wine is one of the best things to make by hand. Or, like you're able to take all these plants together and you're able to make these amazing things and share them with people that you love, which is what I love doing the most. All right, so the next we are going to is broom. Broom is a controversial plant. Here on Gabriola Island, we have broom all over the place. And because it is considered invasive species, they don't like it when people are either using it or growing it for its intended uses because it just takes over. And if you just let it go to flower and seed, it will continue to take over just as blackberries. Scotch broom, another cool thing about broom plants is you can actually make a witch broom out of it. You can tie the whole plant together after it's gone to seed and the flowers are off of it and spin some twine around it and actually use it as a broom, which I think is super cool. But that is me. Um, so although this is an early blooming plant, the seeds do not ripen until October. So the seed is what we'd be using for our wild tea. The seeds on broom or Scotch broom was used back in the day as a coffee substitute. So if you're trying to take away your coffee intake, but you still want to have that kind of coffee feel in the morning, you would be going towards something like broom or dandelion roots. We'll go to the next. We got Douglas fir, which is in the conifer family. We are very blessed here to be able to live around these amazing plants and trees. Douglas fir ranges from many areas and altitudes of central and southern British Columbia, Washington, and Oregon. So if you have lots of conifers around you, you probably have a Douglas fir around you as well. Ground or balsam firs are also in the coastlines and are all suitable for making teas. So just make sure that you're looking up what type of fir it is. The only fir that is toxic or conifer tree that is toxic to human ingestion is the yew tree, which is YEW. And you want to stay away from that as much as possible. The leaves remain on this evergreen conifer all year round and can be collected at any time. So Douglas fir or any fir is a beautiful plant to make tea with. So if you're out in the wild and you're like on a hike and you're like, I feel like, doing something different today, you make a little fire if you're allowed, you boil some water and you go and find some fir tips and you make yourself a beautiful tea and you're sitting there. It is very, very, very packed and rich in vitamin C. So if you're not feeling well, you're stuck in the wild, this is like a really amazing thing. You're stuck in the wild for some reason, or you're just not feeling well. You can just boil some fir tips and it will give you a huge pack of vitamin C. It's, I think, equivalent of taking over the amount that you're like, daily in your daily ingestion should be. But if you're really needing to, just make sure that you are packing as much vitamin C into you and then not taking more after that because you don't want to overload your system. All right, we will go to the next one. Rose is and rose hips. Roses and rose hips are one of my favorite things to collect in the wild. They are super fun to collect, as well as just so beautiful and smell absolutely amazing. And there are so many different roses. If you even see a rose growing in your yard, as long as it's not sprayed with pesticides, you can use those rose petals for tea or put them in a bathtub and let your body soak away. For the best result of collecting rose hips at their prime is around October. You want to make sure that they have gone through their first frost before you collect them, and that's for the rose hips. If you're collecting rose petals for tea or other uses, you want to make sure that you are just collecting the rose petals and leaving behind the middle part of the rose so it can form into a rose hip later on. Because if you do pick the rose right off the branch fully when it's in bloom, you won't be able, or the plant won't be able to produce rose hips later on, which, takes away from a lot of people's, not just food, but as birds and other animals' foods as well. Rose hips contain iron, calcium, and is richer than oranges in vitamin C. So it is an amazing plant to have in the wild, and you're able to just use it as much as you want. We will go to our next plant, nettle, the almighty nettle. We love nettle here. I love nettle. I put nettle in everything. And I will continue to always talk about nettle in high regards, because people don't understand how amazing nettle is for our human bodies. It is one of those plants that we ingest and take, if we do, helps us so beneficially. There is so much to nettle that more, a lot of people don't see, because they see this spiky plant that is able to sting you if you touch it in the wrong ways. And, I understand nettle, stingy approach can come off as, I don't want to be eaten. I don't have anything for you to use me for, but that is not the case. Nettle is through and through edible and ingestible in teas, as long as you're picking it in the right times. We would want the nettles to be fresh when we're picking them. So the younger nettles are the best. Once nettles go to seed, we do want to leave them alone, but can still ingest the seeds that are on the top, but we don't want to ingest the nettle leaves or stalks in any way or form once they are in their seed areas. When you're collecting nettle, please use gloves. And you can just put them in a plastic bag and dry them and crumple them up for some tea. And I am going to take a sip of tea.
We have so much nettle in Colorado too, so that is so awesome. So I've always wondered, because I know that, I've definitely had my fair share of nettle stinging.
Yeah.
But still, I would love to be able to use that for tea and for its edible and medicinal purposes. So that's
Please
awesome.
do, because I think a lot of people don't realize, and I don't know if I said this in my past class, but a lot of these wild plants that we see that are so good for us were brought here by settlers, or European settlers, or people from different areas of the world, and were planted to be used as such. But then throughout the years of people losing these knowledges and able to continue their practices, they just became these rampant weeds. So a lot of people look at them as these invasive species. So the more that we get back to earth and are able to, pick these plants, the better it is, not only for the land that we're on, because they can be invasive to where they are not supposed to be growing. The better it is for not just us humans, but for the earth, which makes it a win-win. So I always encourage people to go out and look on the ground. What can you eat? What can you drink? And keep on doing that, so we can get back into that mind state that oh, this plant was planted by Europeans for this, or this plant was put on earth to help us with this. And so, yeah, please do, because you'll love it. And it, free food, free tea, you can't really go wrong. Okay, so the end of this worksheet, there's a bunch of different plants that I have listed that I am not going to talk about today, but they're going to be there. Like I said, I will share this, and then you guys can use it to your own advantages and take it with you wherever you go. Yeah, so I'm going to stop share, and we are going to make our own tea blend. So I want you guys to kind of help me here, because excuse me, I got a bunch of different things beside me. Maybe I'll go. I'll do this. And you can use any type of diffuser you want. You can do, this is like a little acorn one that you open up. this is just the ones that you pour over, or you can literally just like put it in a pot and strain it anyway. But it's best to always strain your herbs because you don't want any of those hairs or things to get stuck in your throat. So we are going to make a herbal infusion. So in front of me, I have ginger, which is an antioxidant. It's great to help and relieve if you have any indigestion problems, if you're feeling bloated, if you're feeling sick and need, a very strong compound to help inflammation. It soothes any type of heart disease or lungs, and it promotes healthy aging as well. So it's a great thing to ingest, and it's a great thing for tea. We also have rose hips here. Rose hips, like I said, is a high form of vitamin C. So if you're feeling down and you need just a nice little boost, rose hips are good for that. And as well as amazing, 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 amazing for your skin. When you harvest rose hips, you want to make sure that when you dry them, that you take out the seeds. You can see here the seeds have been taken out. This is the best way to preserve and to ingest your rose hips, or to use it further, or to save it. The rose hip seeds do have a hair on them that can be very terrible if ingested, because they will like get stuck in your throat, and nobody wants that. We also have dandelion roots that we talked about. I will show you guys what that looks like. Once harvested, they are best dried in the oven on low temp. So depending on how much you are drying, you just kind of want to go by the judge. You want them to be super, super hard, like to the point where they don't just like crumble, but you have to kind of put some pressure on them. Dandelion root is really great for if you have any like diet problems. Excuse me. If you're trying to help with water retention, if you feel that your liver is not working that well, or if you just want like a nice cleanse, dandelion root is great for that. Excuse me, I'm getting over a cold, so I am still not 100%. All right, turmeric, another great plant. It's great for your liver, sorry. I don't know why my throat is starting to bugger out now, probably because I've been talking, but so turmeric is an amazing plant. For being a female, it actually is a great plant to ingest tea-wise. Oh God. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm a little bit dying here, and I'm not going to tell you guys, but I just told you. It helps and relieve menstrual pains. And it's great if you have, say, if you have arthritis, if you have troubles with your muscles, ingesting turmeric is probably the most beneficial thing you can do for your body in those aspects. All right, and we also have chamomile, which is just an all-around amazing flower to use in everything, it be skin or ingesting. We all know the calming effects of chamomile, and we all want to, feel a little bit stress-free from time to time. We want to calm down. We want to, wind down after a very busy day and get home and lay down and just have a good sleep, where we all know chamomile can do that for us. And I probably need it right now. So we're going to put together a blend. I also have peppermint here, which I don't have in a cute little jar. So what I was thinking, because I'm still not feeling 100%, that I'm going to use some rose hips. Like I said, rose hip is full of vitamin C. So when you're using your wild teas or any tea in general, when you're doing it this way, we don't need much in our teacups. We don't need to put a full scoop in, because then you're kind of not really using the plant as much as it should for all the aspects. But if you look at tea bags, and I'll show you the shitty Tetley one. If you look at tea bags, you can see how much tea is in there. Like, that is not too much. It's a very small amount. So we don't need to go into our jars of wild teas and, take away too many or too much. So we are going to do a half a teaspoon of rose hips because I need the vitamin C, and there you go. We're going to do ginger as well. Like I said, it's great antioxidant. It can help fight off chronic diseases and colds. This ginger was grown here on Gabriola Island, which I absolutely love because it's one of the strongest and most beautiful gingers I've ever laid eyes on. So we're only going to put a small amount of that in there as well. And then I'm going to do just a little bit of dandelion root. Dandelion root is quite bitter, so you don't want to overpack your teas with it because you don't want that bitter taste in there unless that's what you're going for. Some people do drink dandelion root as a coffee alternative, as I was talking about, and because they like that bitter taste. But I'm just going to do it because it is great for the liver, and I think I need a little bit of a liver cleanse right now. So we're going to do chamomile as a filler. So we do fillers, which can be a plant that is easily found or easily harvested. And we use fillers a little bit more than what we would use our initial plants for here. So I would do about 1-2 scoops of chamomile or any filler that you would want, just to kind of pack that in there. And then I'm going to do a very small scoop of peppermint because it has that cooling effect that I feel like my throat needs right now. And I'm going to add water over it and let that steep. So the fun part of this is I picked most of these herbs myself. I'm not feeling the best, and I'm able to look at what plants I have around my property or around when I'm walking and say, oh, I know that's used for that. And when I take it home, I can dry it and later on use it for teas. And I really want you guys to be able to learn that it's okay to do that. Nobody's telling you that you can't do that. I don't want people to think that the teas are better if you buy them from the store, because they are absolutely not better for you. As much as they would like to say, unless you're going to a very, like a witchy store and you're getting your herbs from there, or is somebody at a farmer's market, craft teas that that are coming from ethical places. The sad thing about these companies that they do rape a lot of the lands. They actually don't really care much for the ecosystem. They're honestly just doing it for the money. And as much as they can say that they're not, these corporations own so many other corporations that do that. So they could be like, oh, this corporation of Tetley, we don't do that. But the actual fact of it is their larger corporations actually do. So we always want to make sure that we're supporting as best as we can in this world, because it is not going in the best places, and we want to be able to be the best we can. I'm gonna go get my water and pour it over. So I had some hot water boiling from before and it's still warm, so I'm just going to pour that over. You can see my cute little mushroom teacup, and that's the best part of drinking tea, is you get to just collect as many teacups that are cute AF and drink out of them. And I'm gonna let that steep, and I'm gonna open up here for some questions, or if anybody wants any more information on something, or yeah, let me know. All right. Hello, Lisa.
Hello. I just
Hi.
wanted to start by saying thank you for doing this. I used your earlier workshop this year at the Isle of the Arts Festival, and so I was just like, whoa.
Oh, yay. I saw you were on the attendance list, and then I was like, oh, she's not here.
So I had my boss was like, I'm gonna have a meeting, and I'm like, okay. But so thank you. I just wanted to be very appreciative. Are you able to share your tea workbook that I can't, because I came in late, but excellent.
Absolutely. I will share that. There will be a link, I'm sure, on the event page. Alexandra, I'm not sure if you're going to be putting them up on the website as well, but you're more than welcome to.
I was going to tell you at the end, yeah, if you could email me the workbook and I will post it on all of the places.
Okay.
I can put it on the website. We can have it up on the Facebook page. We can have it in all of the places.
Perfect. Perfect.
And thank you. And if you know of where, I am wondering about chickweed. Have you done any chickweed? So that was my question.
Where are you looking to find some, or you just want to?
Well, both. I hear that it can be a really good tonic.
Yes.
Particularly a spring tonic, but I've not been able to find any on my property, which is really unusual. It's a really
well, I just tilled my garden, and I wish I didn't, because I had so much that I wasn't even able to use it. Yeah, it's mostly in like ditches, so in lots of wet areas. Just look for the white little top flowers. They're like super easy to kind of see. I see a lot on the south end. Me and Lisa live on the same island. But I see a lot on the south end, closer to Spring Beach and those areas. So they should be around you, because they like really moist climates.
Great. We'll take a look.
Yeah, have a look. And then once I give you this worksheet, you'll be able to identify and have the characteristics that you're kind of looking for a little bit better as well, which will be happily I'm taken, I'm sure. And yeah, my dog is barking at the door. I'm sorry if anybody hears that. Any more questions? I also wanted to say, since there's no more questions, I wanted to say thank you to everybody that is here and listening to me ramble about wild teas and plants, because I do absolutely love to do this. And this is great. This is a great outlet for me to not only continue to learn, but continue to learn how to teach other people about it, because this is new to me. So I find myself feeling nervous and anxious. And then at the end of these classes, I always feel so relieved and so empowered that I was able to not only, take myself out of that anxiety mind state. I was able to do it without being like, I'm giving up, I'm walking away. This is done. So I thank you guys for being here. Also, I wanted to say thank you again to the land that I'm on, the unceded Nemos people's land that I get to harvest from and live on, and be able to, just reap the beauty of the beautiful culture and lifestyle that I have here.
Thank you so much for doing this for us. We are so lucky to have you. You're amazing. So thank you. It's true. And yeah, we're just so lucky to have you. Thank you.
I really appreciate you. Okay, well, I will end that. I have to go pick up some kids in an hour, so I'm going to go water my plants. I'm going to send this off to Alexandra right now, and then we'll get this to you guys so you can, read along and do what you need to do and learn some more. And the next session, I'm sure will come back just as powerful and with some more information that I'm excited to share with you guys. So hope everybody has a wonderful day, and thank you again. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Hi, Tanya.
Bye.